The 2025 NFL Draft was supposed to be Shadore Sanders' crowning moment, the stage where years of build-up, hype, and generational talent turned into destiny. A top 10 talent by nearly every major analyst, the son of Coach Prime himself, and the face of the most electric story college football had seen in 2 decades, Shedeur had everything lined up for glory. Yet, when the lights shined brightest, when the stage was set for a first-round walk across that iconic platform, the Sanders family instead watched 3 days of silence unfold. No call, no cameras celebrating, no confetti raining down, just disbelief. 3 days of waiting, 3 days of watching name after name go by, 3 days where the NFL world collectively decided to pass. Finally, with pick number 144 in the 5th round, the Cleveland Browns made the call. A pick that wasn't celebration, it was insult. In that moment, tens of millions evaporated into thin air, and the dream of being the top quarterback of his class turned into a nightmare. And now, what began as draft night disappointment has escalated into one of the most seismic legal challenges in league history. The Sanders family isn't calling this a slide. They're calling it collusion, and they're not whispering, they're suing. $100 million, a legal brawl against the NFL itself. What they're alleging isn't just bias. It's sabotage, a coordinated takedown fueled by politics, image, and fear of the Prime brand. If the internal emails, text messages, and private conversations they claim to have are real, this isn't just about one quarterback. This is about a league that may have deliberately crushed a dynasty before it began. For months leading into the draft, Shadore Sanders wasn't just another prospect. He was the headline. ESPN plastered him across specials. Fox Sports debated his ceiling daily. Bleacher Report hyped his meteoric rise from Jackson State to Colorado. Scouts praised his poise, his accuracy, his maturity under pressure. He had a 74. 1% completion rate, elite numbers against top competition, and more importantly, he carried a Colorado program from irrelevance to must-watch TV. He wasn't just good, he was box office. He was supposed to be a lock for the first or early second round. Analysts compared his mechanics to NFL veterans, his leadership to polished captains, his potential as limitless. And yet, as the draft clock ticked down on night 1, something strange happened. Quiet. Too quiet. Teams in desperate need of quarterbacks passed. The buzz vanished. The once glowing analysis started to fade. What was supposed to be a party became a nightmare. Cameras at his private event turned away. The champagne went flat. Family and friends who had gathered to watch a coronation instead witnessed humiliation. Round after round passed. No Shedeur. By the end of round 4, disbelief turned into suspicion. And then, pick 144. A 5th-round contract worth just $6 million over 4 years. A catastrophic drop from the projected $30 to $35 million that awaited had he gone in the 1st. That's not just a fall, that's financial devastation. Endorsements? Gone. National commercials? Gone. Franchise cornerstone status? Gone. All of it evaporated, not because Shedeur lacked talent, but because somewhere, somehow, the narrative changed. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime himself, wasn't about to stay silent. From his perspective, this wasn't just a draft snub, it was sabotage. And he wasn't alone in that thinking. The Sanders family wasted no time. Attorneys were contacted within hours, and soon whispers of collusion began echoing across the football world. According to insiders, this wasn't about injury concerns. It wasn't about interviews gone wrong. This was something else, something deliberate, something coordinated. What happened to Shedeur wasn't just unprecedented, it was calculated. And now, with a $100 million lawsuit reportedly prepared to be filed, the NFL is staring down a threat unlike anything it has faced in years. Because if the Sanders family has the evidence they claim, the entire draft system may be exposed as nothing more than a backroom chess match orchestrated by powerful owners protecting their own interests. Early reports from investigators close to the Sanders family suggest the evidence is damning. Internal emails, text messages, back-channel communications between NFL owners, executives, and even media outlets. And the story they allegedly tell is chilling. A deliberate effort to keep Shadore Sanders from being drafted early, not because of performance, but because of optics. One email, reportedly uncovered by a private investigator, is said to include the line, "You're not just drafting Shedeur, you're inheriting the Prime brand." That one sentence may become the most explosive line in the entire case. the smoking gun that turns this from speculation into systemic scandal. The Sanders lawsuit isn't about bitterness. It isn't about one draft night gone wrong. It's about principle, about drawing a line in the turf and declaring enough is enough. Enough of the anonymous leaks designed to tank reputations. Enough of the backroom phone calls between billionaires that dictate the futures of young men before they ever step onto a professional field. Enough of the silent punishment when athletes, especially outspoken black athletes, assert control over their careers. Shadore Sanders didn't lose millions because of talent. He lost millions because the NFL, if the lawsuit is to be believed, decided that the Sanders family represented a threat to hierarchy, a threat to tradition, a threat to the league's culture of control. And that's why the lawsuit goes far beyond lost salary. It targets the entire ecosystem of value tied to being a first-round pick. Endorsements, shoe deals, video game covers, the credibility that comes with being a franchise savior. Gone in a matter of hours because teams and media supposedly conspired to change the narrative. Fifth-round picks aren't stars. They're backups, projects, depth chart fillers. They don't headline Nike campaigns. They don't anchor Madden covers. They don't get primetime interview slots. And that's what was stolen, according to the Sanders camp. Not just money, but opportunity, visibility, legacy. For Coach Prime, the insult cuts even deeper, because this isn't just about Shedeur. It's about how the league views Deion Sanders himself. As a player, he was too flashy, too bold, too different. As a coach, he defied the traditional climb, refusing to play politics with athletic directors or bow to college football's silent gatekeepers. He turned Jackson State into a powerhouse. He turned Colorado into a cultural phenomenon. He did it his way. And that independence has made him a target for decades. The NFL thrives on conformity. Respect the shield. Keep your opinions small, your brand smaller. Deion Sanders never fit that mold. He raised his sons to believe they didn't have to either. Shedeur wasn't just another rookie. He was a quarterback raised in the prime incubator, trained not just to play, but to command, to brand, to control his destiny. And that terrified the league. Because drafting Shedeur meant opening the door to cameras, primetime coverage, and a quarterback who wasn't willing to be silent. To NFL executives who value obedience above all else, that was unacceptable. That's why this lawsuit cites Deion's comments at Super Bowl week, where he openly admitted there were teams Shedeur wouldn't play for. Those weren't empty words, they were leverage. But the league didn't see strategy, they saw insubordination. They saw a family flipping the script on a process they had controlled for decades. And if the lawsuit is accurate, their answer was a coordinated freeze-out, to humble Shedeur, to humble Prime, to send a message. But now the message is boomeranging back, because this lawsuit is not just about compensation, it's about exposure. It's about dragging the draft process into the light. If discovery is granted, the NFL could be forced to release communications it has guarded for years. Draft board notes, internal memos, text chains between owners, even media source pipelines could come into play. Every anonymous quote about Shedeur might have to be traced back to its origin. Imagine the fallout if journalists are forced to admit which front office fed them stories, or if emails surface showing executives warning each other to stay away from Shedeur because of his family. That wouldn't just be embarrassing, it would be catastrophic. Because once the perception of a fair draft system cracks, everything changes. Agents would demand reform, players would demand protections, fans would start asking questions about how much of the draft is theater, how many careers have been manipulated by whispers in the shadows. And for a league that thrives on image, the damage could rival Deflategate, Spygate, even the Kaepernick saga. That's why NFL executives, behind closed doors, are reportedly panicking. Publicly, they dismiss the lawsuit as grandstanding. Privately, they know that if the Sanders family has even a fraction of the evidence they claim, the Shield could take a blow unlike any in its history. The most dangerous part? The Sanders family doesn't seem afraid. Not of blackballing, not of lost opportunities, not even of losing. Because this isn't just about Shedeur's career anymore. It's about setting precedent. It's about making sure no future athlete has to go through the same orchestrated character assassination. Whether they win in court or not, the Sanders family is making it clear they refuse to be silent. Most players in Shedeur's position would take the $4-6 million, thank the league for the opportunity, and disappear quietly into the roster bubble. But Shadore Sanders is different. He was famous before his first NFL snap. He